So how long have you been brewing, and tell me about this place?
I lost track. It's probably been close to 20 years, something like that. But kind of got into it through bartending and just product knowledge. I wanted to get more involved in the products. So started studying beer and got stuck on the bees, and still working on beer. My biggest start was probably Russian River. I worked in breweries before that, but I spent 10 years there. So that gave me part of the bones about what I do and a good foundation for that.
And for those that don't know, Russian River is?
It's a brewery in Sonoma County, Santa Rosa. Vinny Chilurzo is the owner. They call him like the founder of the double IPA. I don't know if that's true or not, but he sure does make a good double IPA.
And then after Russian River, you guys went to Georgia, right? Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, we went down to Georgia. I was consulting after I left Russian River, and there was a company, a friend of mine got me a gig in Georgia, so we went to South Albany. For about a year, I designed maybe 4 or 5 of their core beers, and part of my contract was to go down there and actually create the beers for the first time, to run them through their system. So I did that, and then when I was down there, they really liked me, so they offered me and my partner a position down there with their brewery. So we went down there for a year, and Jen did all the marketing for them and multiple other things, and I concentrated on all their beer. And we had a great time down there. I really liked the place. It was called Pretoria Fields. But we missed California, and we came back to California. Jen grew up in this town, Pismo Beach, right outside of Pismo Beach in SLO County. So we wanted to come back here and start a family. So we have a 2-year-old, and I just wanted to get started on a brand name and sort of give the community a little back of what I know and what I do well. So beer is my thing, and that's what I wanted to spend some time. But I wanted to, just have something that we could enjoy and be manageable and keep fresh and not be this gigantic, overwhelming thing. And it is pretty much a gigantic, overwhelming thing, but it's very small. It's a little 5-barrel system. We're only in a 1,100 square feet space, and that includes like a patio, the tasting room, the brewery, the kitchen, the works. So I had to be a little creative, so I double stacked my tanks. My cold room's small, so my second tier of tanks is all bright tanks, and it enables me to, I came from a place where we keg down the entire bright tank, but this way they're holding tanks. I don't actually serve out of them, but I can keg down just what I need to keep room and make it manageable in the cold box. So it was a creative way of expanding my refrigeration space for my finished beer. Well, my foundation is the Russian River beers. That's where I learned all the Belgians, as well as the the double IPAs and the sour program and all. But here, with my limited space, I'm working on ales and Belgians to start with. But I'd like to branch off into gruits and saisons, beers with flowers. I've had a beer years ago that just influenced me a lot, and it had, it reminded me of an old French wine, where you'd open it up and it had this beautiful bouquet and nice fruit, but it was gone real quick, and then there'd come in these earthier tones. And I've had beers like that were made from flowers that I thought were phenomenal. I mean, hops are a flower, but some of these more aromatic herbs, which I grew up with my mom being into herbs and had big herb gardens. So I just always loved rubbing the smelling, all the smells from all the different herbs. So I'd like to incorporate more of those. And the style is more of a gruit. But I'm a beekeeper, so braggots interest me as well, which are made with honey. So I have these healing style beers from ancient times, which I'm really interested in pursuing more of that. We just did our first 4 beers, which were an IPA, 2 IPAs. One was a Belgian style IPA. I used a wit yeast in order to be able to reuse the yeast in a wit style. We're at a beach town, so I wanted something really light. So I kind of named my first 4 beers off of the elements. And since we have a German theme, I went with earth spirit, water spirit, wind spirit, and fire spirit. And they all have a little bit to do, the hops are much more earthy. So I went with the Earthgeist for that. The Watergeist, Wassergeist, was a beer that was like super easy to drink and sessionable. The Ehrgeist is a very light beer, lower alcohol, very light on the palate. So I kind of use it, and the Firegeist has a much more spice undertone to it with the hops as well as the wit yeast. I kind of brought that character out in the beer. The next 4 will probably be totally different styles, different names. You know, we're just we're having fun and we're experimenting, and I'm revisiting things that I wanted to do 15 years ago. That because I work for commercial brewers, I brewed their beer, but I wanted to be really good and proficient at what I did. So I concentrated on process, ingredients, and now you know we're in this small little 5-barrel system, and you know a lot of people will be like home brewers stepping up to a commercial brewery might to you know go with a 5-barrel system like this, and I'm kind of going in reverse. You know, I did 30-barrel systems, 20-barrel systems, some 10-barrel systems, and now I'm down to a 5-barrel system. And I just, you know, I kind of like the manageability and the small, fresh beer. It creates a lot more work for myself, but at the same time, it gives me that sense of, oh, yeah, this is great. We can do a lot of different beer styles, keep the beer fresh, and you know, everybody can enjoy it. And you know, I can take more gambles that way. It's like a flow of consciousness, you know, for all the different beer styles, we want to have something that evolves and tastes different. And they may be all different styles, but the core is the beer will always be evolving and always changing. It'll be in a state of constant flux.